All right, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Louis L'Amour book, Fair Blows the Wind. That's right. We always talk about the covers first, so let's get that out of the way. I've got two different versions here. We've got the modern version that was painted by Greg Manchens. You can see it's like a pirate scene. Then we got the older original version painted by Tom Hall. Again, kind of another more pirate-y scene. Tom Hall, he was the illustrator that illustrated all the Colleen McCullough Masters of Rome books. And he's done a lot of Western books too. So what do I think of these covers? I actually like them both about equal. I don't like the graphic design on this one because the illustration has been shrunk to a little square in the middle, whereas this illustration takes up the entire page. But they're both about pirates. You can see they've got both pirate theme because this is Louis L'Amour's pirate adventure book. Believe it or not. Now, when Louis L'Amour wrote the Sackett saga. So he wrote this saga of the Sacketts, which is 17 books long. And it starts up in England in book number 1. And it chronicles the life of a family, the Sacketts, as they migrate from England to Revolutionary War times, to Civil War times, to out west. So, the latter half of the books are them out west, and they're straight westerns. These other ones are kind of like a Civil War, Revolutionary War, and even back to England. It's kind of like John Jake's Bastard series, And so Louis L'Amour finished the Sackett series, and he wanted to start another similar series about the Chantry family. And this is book number 1. But he only got 5 books into the series before he passed away. He wanted to make it another like 17 some odd thing epic, but he did the Fair Blows the Wind, the Ferguson Rifle, Over on the Dry Side, which is one of my favorite Louis L'Amour books, Board in Chantry, and North to the Rails. And that's as far as he got. 5 books in. And he couldn't finish the series because of, he died. Anyway. That'll stop you, right? I mean, if you're a writer and you die, that'll stop you cold. Well, unless you're Tom Clancy, then they'll keep putting books out for you, or Robert Jordan. Nobody ever took up the Louis L'Amour moniker and kept writing them, which is good. I love the fact that nobody was, that people just didn't want to make money off of the guy's name. So anyway, what is this about? This is one of the things, a little history on this book. So there was a period when this book was wrote in the late 1970s, 1977, 1978, where there was an editor that had worked on a handful of Louis L'Amour books, and Louis L'Amour didn't like this editor because this editor would actually rewrite the book, like change entire sentences and paragraphs and just write his own stories. And Louis L'Amour was like, that's really intrusive. And he was getting more pissed and more pissed. And he turned this book in, and the edits came back, and he could see that this editor had just changed so much of the story. And Louis L'Amour wrote a very strongly worded letter back saying, this is unacceptable. You did this to me on 2 previous books. I don't even feel like the books are written by me at all, and I'm not going to let you get away with it on this book. This guy has got to, I do not want him editing my stuff anymore. Literally, I read some of the stuff this editor was doing to the Louis L'Amour books, and I was like, oh my gosh. I am just like, I'm an author, and I deal with editors, and I'll be honest, in my books, my editors don't make me do a lot of changes, and my editors don't do any change without my approval. And the fact that they were doing that to Louis L'Amour, a million seller, like one of their most profitable authors, and they were just raping his work like that, is just unfathomable. I can't even, especially when I saw the side-by-side comparisons of what Louis L'Amour wanted and what the editor was doing, I was disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. I'm glad Louis L'Amour put his foot down and said, no more of that bullshit. You know, I'm not going to write, if I write a sentence a certain way, that's the way I want it. If I write a scene a certain way, if I do research on certain things, I want that research in a book. I don't want some jackass switching it around so the research is meaningless. You know, the letter was gold. I love that letter. The letter was gold, and you can find that letter in this version of Fair Blows the Wind. It's got a special author's little note there where he talks all about it. That's an aside to the book anyway. Just a little bit about the publishing, you know. So this is a book about a dude in Ireland. His family is killed. He's from a noble family, but the bad guys come and they destroy the castle, kill his family. He flees into the Irish wilderness, and he forgets, he's like, I can't go under that name anymore because I'm going to be hunted. So he makes up his own name. The name he chooses for himself is Chantry. And he goes off to be a pirate. And that's pretty much the whole plot. That's the whole plot. And he gets into many, many pirate adventures. He's shipwrecked in the Carolinas, which is sort of where the story starts. And I love this because, you know, the story starts of him being shipwrecked in the Carolinas and dealing with the Spanish explorers and the Native Americans that are there. And we only learn about his past as an Irish nobleman through brief little exposition scenes and flashbacks, but they're not intrusive at all. They flow into the story, and it's really well done. And sometimes Louis L'Amour has done these epics where he goes from point A to point B, and it just feels like everything is rushed. I loved that he just did this guy's history back in Ireland in the flashbacks, because I thought that it held the present day story more cohesive. Rather than writing 50 pages of his adventures from Ireland as a pirate out in the Caribbean, then he finally reaches North Carolina. I like that he was already in North Carolina, and he thought back on some of those other adventures. But then the main adventure he's in, we're present for that the whole time, the whole book. I like this. It's a good start. Like the Saga Saga, which is back here, these books. And we'll be reading those and reviewing those all one at a time too eventually. But I wanted to do the Chantry series first, just because it's 5 books. So my next Louis L'Amour review will be of the book 2 of the Chantry series. But we'll get through those. I like this book. It's a good start to the series. Fair Blows the Wind. Louis L'Amour's one and only pirate story. And it's pretty dope. I give it about, I'd give this about an 8 out of 10.